If I knew it was going to be that kind of show, I would have took some notes.
This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about a boogie woogie. I'm going to play one.
I'm Steve Vincent.
I'm Paul Schultz.
And this is the Don't Panic Radio Show. Sit back, relax, and ignore the news. Nothing you're about to hear is true.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
This is episode 197, and if you're wondering what notes we might be talking about, Netflix, I don't know if it's Netflix or Amazon Prime or Hulu. I have no idea. Mm-hmm. All I know is I got all those on my Apple TV, and if any of them have free movies, then I put the free movies on. But there's a lot of Marvel Cinematic Universe movies on one of those that I pay for. And so Ant-Man versus the Wasp. Ant-Man and the Wasp was on Netflix for free. And so we decided to watch it. And my kids now make fun of me because every time I bring that movie up, I say Ant-Man versus the Wasp. And they're like, it's not versus the Wasp. It's and the Wasp. At what point in that movie did you see Ant-Man fighting the Wasp? I'm like, well, I didn't really see that. I don't think it was in that movie. And they're like, right. It's not in that movie, which is why they don't call it Ant-Man versus the Wasp.
They fought in the first one.
Oh, well, maybe, see, in my defense, they did fight in the first one, which I didn't see. Was the first one just called Ant-Man?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the guy who saw Empire Strikes Back first.
I did. I did. It was and Return of the Jedi second. And then I saw Star Wars later on.
Had I known you hadn't seen Ant-Man, I would not have suggested, yeah, man, go watch it. Go watch Ant-Man and Wasp.
I'd known it was going to be that kind of podcast. I was a little surprised that, usually with movies, the first 5 minutes you can just miss because that's when people are getting popcorn. You're like going to the bathroom. You haven't even gotten the whole family to settle the hell down yet. It's like, come on, get in here. We're starting the movie. Well, don't start it yet. Well, I told you we were starting it 10 minutes ago. Yeah, I'm making popcorn. Well, you're forgiven. What about you? What's your excuse? I'm going to the bathroom. You had all night to go to the bathroom.
My son will go to the bathroom and I'll start the movie on purpose.
Yeah, but usually the first 5 minutes doesn't matter. With Ant-Man and the Wasp, they didn't even have opening credits.
Nope.
It just started with, think about when that night we left you and we told you we were going on a business trip. And that was sort of a lie, but not really, because our business was saving the planet. And that sort of was a business trip. Our business was saving the planet, and it was a trip. And so it started like that. And I was like, wow, they're just jumping right in. There's not going to be any funky Marvel logo and all that kind of stuff. So I had to start paying attention from the very beginning. Turns out I was the only one in my family paying attention from the very beginning because I had to pause the damn thing 8 times in the first 25 minutes to explain what was going on. And, if I'm explaining what's going on in a Marvel movie, nobody's paying attention, right? So anyway, you're saying in the first one they fought.
She was his physical combat trainer. Yeah.
But they didn't fight. They didn't fight in anger or mad. We don't be mad like the woman's mad at the guy because she's attracted to him, but he's a bad boy and she's been trying not to date bad boys anymore. So she's not really mad at him. She's mad at herself. I don't mean mad like that. I mean mad like anger, like that's the enemy and you're trying to kill
They were
him.
frenemies.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're on the same page. Let's start the show over again because somehow I threw you off by informing you that I had not seen the first one, which somehow threw you off your game. We were going to watch The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert the other night as a family. Then I looked it up. It's rated R. I looked up why it was rated R. I was kind of okay, but my wife, it has to be unanimous. Like one of us can't think it's okay for the kids and the other one not.
Wait, who's in Priscilla, Queen of the Desert?
I don't know who's in it, but it's a bunch of drag queens in Australia.
Oh, that sounds hilarious. Okay.
It's a coming of age, slice of life. Yeah, look it up. It's a good movie.
Maybe I did see that. That sounds really familiar.
So we didn't watch that, and so we were looking for some other thing to watch, and I saw Ant-Man and the Wasp on there, and decided to watch that. And let me tell you, if you're thinking about watching that movie with your family, make sure everybody's settled in, has their popcorn. Nobody has to go to the bathroom, because it starts from the very beginning. Like there's no opening credits or anything like that. They just start. Michael Douglas starts telling his daughter how he remembers the night that a lot of movies start like this, by the way, but not from the very beginning. Like they give you a chance to get situated, like get your feet put up.
There's always like a crime going on with like the TikTok quick music, then eventually they get to the hero part. But no, not this one. This one just started up.
Anyway, so these two superheroes, Michael Douglas and was it Michelle Pfeiffer?
Yeah, oh yeah.
So they went flying off to try to save the world, only they were too late. They were too late to use their normal superpowers. And so Michelle Pfeiffer had to get so little that she could go between the molecules of the metal that was encasing the missile that was going to kill thousands of people, right? Mm-hmm. And she got so little that they couldn't cut through the metal. So she had to get tiny enough to go in between the molecules and to go in there and defuse the bomb. But once you get that tiny, we didn't have the technology yet back in those days to get big again. So once you went that tiny, that's it. You're stuck in what they call the quantum realm, which is a realm that is quantum.
You need to be explaining this like Michael Pena.
So anyway, she got that little, and by the way, the quantum realm, super tiny, right? Which I appreciate. Like when people talk about taking a quantum leap, like you mean like a super tiny leap? No, like a huge, gigantic leap, like a quantum leap. And I'm like, no, quantum size is like really small. No, I mean like big, like a big leap. So you mean like a giant leap, not a quantum leap. Like a quantum leap would be like small because quantum size is... And then by that point, people were telling me to shut up. Anyway, she went in the quantum realm, which is super tiny. And she wasn't able to get big again, which means Michael Douglas had to come back and get old for 30 years. And his daughter, her mom was just gone. She had to grow up without a mom. So Ant-Man and the Wasp is about, coming back, like your mom being gone.
Okay, so there's what I liked and there's what I didn't like. I mean, spoilers may happen.
No, there's no such thing. That movie's like 2 years old. There's no spoilers.
If you haven't seen it by now, run off. It's on Netflix. Just go watch it and then come back and listen to this episode. So apparently Ant-Man went off to help Captain America off in Europe somewhere.
In Captain America Civil War.
Yeah, I should probably go watch that.
Yes, you should.
And, I saw that. Spider-Man showed up to that one, didn't he? I saw that one. I remember Ant-Man jumping around being all little.
And then he gets all big.
And then the world got really upset because of all the collateral damage. One man's collateral damage is another man's family that gets killed. Just innocently working in a building. Mm-hmm. And, that one chick, destroys a bomb at the top of your building and your building blows up. A bunch of people die. That's collateral damage to you. But if it's your family in the building, you might want the United Nations or SHIELD or whoever governs these things to do something about it, right? So Ant-Man got caught up in all that and arrested and put on house arrest. By the way, it made me feel like the worst father ever.
Oh.
Because he's playing with his daughter. He's doing all this stuff with his daughter in the house, and he's built this like roller coaster that goes down the stairs and everything, and they're having fun, and my daughters are like, well, that looks like fun. And I'm like, well, you're always on your phone playing games. How am I supposed to have fun with you? It's your fault. It's like, I don't want you sitting with your therapist talking about how I didn't come up with anything fun to do when you're the one sitting on your phone all the time. This movie brought up a lot of issues.
As well it should.
You know.
There's so much to
In
it.
case you can't tell. So Ant-Man's playing with his daughter, and that's how we meet the FBI, because the FBI is keeping an eye on him. He's on house arrest. But it turns out that Ant-Man has gone into the quantum realm and has returned from the quantum realm, right? So how does Ant-Man relate to Michelle Pfeiffer and Michael Douglas? Well, you want Michelle Pfeiffer to come back from the quantum realm, right? Well, if Ant-Man has gone to the quantum realm and has come back, not only is it possible to come back from the quantum realm, but maybe Ant-Man talked to Michelle Pfeiffer and can deliver a message from Michelle Pfeiffer. Who's Michelle Pfeiffer, by the way? Is she like the Wasp senior?
Yeah, she's the original Wasp.
Oh, so it's a situation like in Watchmen.
Yes.
What were those girls' names?
The Silk Spectre 1 and 2.
Yeah. So it's like a Silk Spectre situation.
Mm-hmm.
So the daughter, Michael Douglas's daughter, is the Wasp, but Michael Douglas's wife, the Wasp mom, is also the Wasp.
Right.
What's Michael Douglas? Is he a Wasp? Mr. Wasp?
No, he's Ant-Man 1. Scott Lang is Ant-Man 2.
Oh, so Michael Douglas and Paul Rudd are both Ant-Men.
Yes.
Is this how it went down in the comic books too, or is this just the movie?
Everything but the Wasp 1 and 2, because that was something they did to put the new version of the Wasp from the comics into the movie, and they did it really well. You know, I'm not complaining that they screwed with the timeline at all.
So Michael Douglas is a super smart scientist guy, apparently an Ant-Man, one of the Ant-Men.
Mm-hmm.
And he's trying to figure out how to get his wife, the original Wasp, the original white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, Michelle Pfeiffer, back from the quantum realm. And anyway, it's brilliantly done. So now I've set up the central conflict. There's a gangster type situation where they have like the black market technology that Michael Douglas needs to get his wife back, the original Wasp back, and there's this mysterious ghost-like creature called the Ghost, who is also trying to get the technology because she feels like it's going to help her. And there's this dude, the guy, he's like got a red pill and a blue pill, and he's like offering the red pill or the blue pill. And the kids, like we had just watched The Matrix like a week before. And Lawrence Fishburne shows up, and they're like, take the red pill. I was like, that's hilarious. I was like, yes, take the red pill. It's like, suddenly I'm like, what's his name? Going, we all think the same thing. Why in the hell didn't I take the red pill? It's like, in some ways I can relate to that. And that's the point at which my daughter's like, yeah, I mean, she's like, if I was the, I forget what we were calling her. We weren't calling her the original Wasp. The mom. I think we were calling her the mom, Michelle Pfeiffer. She's like, I don't know. I'm not so sure I would have gone to the quantum realm knowing I couldn't come back. I was like, yeah, but she was going to save thousands of lives by doing that. She's like, yeah, I know. Still. I'm not,
yeah, but still.
I'm not sure. She's like, maybe I'm not, maybe I'm not like hero material. Because she's like, when we were watching The Matrix, I was like, I probably would have taken the red pill. For those of you that don't know, Lawrence Fishburne is in the Ant-Man and the Wasp movie. And so that brought up the whole conversation about, that's how it came up. Because they're like, wait, who's that guy? He looks familiar. I'm like, it's Morpheus. They're like, oh yeah. Wow, Morpheus looks old. We're like, yeah.
Yeah, because The Matrix was like 30 years ago.
Yeah, it was like 1999.
Mm-hmm.
So Morpheus is a professor, apparently the original Ant-Man's friend.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to help the Ghost, who somehow, like Dr. Manhattan, got unconstituted and reconstituted but then reconstituted in a way that gave her superpowers, but like gave her a fatal flaw. So she was trying to fix herself, and Morpheus was trying to help her. But in order to help her, he like was working counter to what Ant-Man wanted. And so it kind of like, eventually everybody figured out like if we all just work together, we can all help each other,
Right.
except for the gangster dude who operates in black market. What I loved is there's like three different, usually in these movies, you've got the bad guy and the good guy, and the bad guy fights the good guy. And in this movie, you had the bad guy, another bad guy, the good guy, another good guy.
Yes.
And then one of the bad guys was kind of like, well, she's not so bad. She's kind of okay, except she's in a bad situation. Maybe we could help her. And so the movie ends, of course, the good guys. I mean, I never thought I would have to say, like, spoiler alert, the good guys win until Infinity War, Endgame, like all these movies come out where the good guy doesn't end up winning. Spoiler alert. And but anyway, the good guys kind of win, and then they're like, but we can still help Of course, the gangster guy, the super bad guy, doesn't win. Like he gets I forget what happened to him, but anyway, he didn't win. I think the building fell on him, like the Wicked Witch of the West or something like that. Or maybe like giant Ant-Man stepped on him or something. I forget. I don't remember what happened
He
to him.
ended up getting a dose of the truth serum, remember?
Oh, I love the truth serum.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorites. Like the guy from Narcos. Have you seen Narcos Mexico?
No.
So the Mexican dude that was like worked at the security firm that Michael Douglas, or not Michael Douglas, but Ant-Man Jr. started.
Michael Pena.
He was in Narcos Mexico.
Oh, was he?
Right? We loved Narcos. We watched Narcos, the one about Escobar, and then there's another, like they finished that whole thing, Escobar gets killed. Spoiler alert.
Oh, well, I'm not going to watch it now.
Yeah, right. So they started a Narcos Mexico about the Mexican cartels. And Michael Pena is in that. So when he shows up, I'm like, that's the dude from Narcos. And Cassie's like, no, he's not. So she looks him up. She's like, oh, yeah, that is that guy from Narcos.
He's great.
So the guy from Narcos is hilarious. When those guys with the truth serum show up, he's like, it's not a truth serum. And he's like, okay, well, what is it? He's like, it releases your inhibitions, and there are neural pathways that cause you to answer any question without deceiving us. He's like,
It's truth serum.
we were laughing. And the guy from the FBI, it was hilarious. The FBI dude, super funny guy, right? Like you can relate to him, and he's kind of rooting for Ant-Man, but not really. And so anyway, in the end, they try to help the ghost, and in order to help the ghost, spoiler alert: Michelle Pfeiffer makes it out of the quantum realm. Ant-Man helps with that. Both of them, both Ant-Men, and Wasp Jr. helps. Wasp Sr. gets out, and they all go, well, we got to help the ghost. And in order to do that, we got to go get some quantum energy, whatever the hell that is. But it of course, uses one of those canisters like you use at a bank drive-up. Like you the bank drive-up, you put your thing in there, it goes up in the tube. And usually there's a stick of gum when it comes back, or at least a pen. Like, oh, you got to sign
It comes
the
back.
slip. You sign the slip. Yeah. It comes back. Yeah. Okay, you sign the slip. You put it back in, push the button. It goes back out. Anyway, so Paul Rudd takes this down. I mean, Ant-Man Jr. takes that thing down. He's like, okay, I got the stuff. Bring me back out. And they're like, okay, bringing you back out in 5, 4. And I'm sitting there going, oh, there's no way. There's no way this is going to work. 3, 2. Guys, okay, this isn't funny. All right. And I was like, oh, they're dead. They're dead. I don't know if Truth Serum guy got on or what's going on. And then smash cut, and there's nothing but these floating gray embers where all the people used to be. Wasp Jr., Wasp, and there's a third one. Who's the third person? Oh, Ant-Man Sr. just floating like gray embers, right? I was like, what happened? Oh, I know what happened. And that's exactly how it went down. And Constance looks at me and she's like, what? What happened? I was like, I don't know if I can tell you. Hang on. I was like, I got to figure out if this is a spoiler or not. So I went back. I had to figure out when Infinity War came out and when the snap happened. And like, okay, I was like, all right, this shouldn't have been a spoiler. If you'd seen Infinity War, then this wouldn't have been a spoiler for you. It would have been a shock and a surprise. You'd have been like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Not them. Now I don't even know if Paul Rudd died because I'm like, there's got to be another one where Paul Rudd jumps out of the van and goes, now I got to figure out how to work this thing to get Ant-Man Jr. back. Because obviously Ant-Man Jr. didn't die. So Ant-Man Jr. didn't get killed in the snap. Maybe you're sitting there thinking, well, if you'd seen Endgame, you would know. And I'm like, I haven't seen Endgame yet. And I know it's been 2 weeks, and maybe I should have it spoiled for me. But now I want to know. I'm like, did Ant-Man Jr. make it out? Did Paul Rudd make it out? But anyway, I could see like it's all coming together for me. Like watching that movie. I think you might have told me this at one point. Like if you watch that movie, you'll get it. And I was like, I don't know how watching some movie about super tiny people, it's like, it just seemed like really, like before I saw the movie, like as a non-comic book guy, I just remember thinking, really, Ant-Man and the Wasp? It sounds like it's like Laurel and Hardy. Like this is the movie that's going to do it for me. And like after watching it, I'm just like, holy shit. Wow. And now I'm like pulling for like, who makes it out? Who lives? Who dies? You know?
Hey, get your ass to a matinee, man. Break your 2 movies a year rule to get yourself to a matinee.
And then they do this thing that I love about movies, like any movie, superhero movie, war movie, I don't care what kind of movie. Like, so here's how it went down. I'll just tell you in real time how this went down. So I was like, well, okay, I got to figure out, like I had to go to the bathroom. Like I knew to stick around after the credits, right? I know enough. Like you've educated me enough that I knew I had to stick around. Like don't just immediately stop watching the movie, right?
Never do that.
So it gets through that part, right? And so I'm like, whoa, oh my God, I don't know what happened, right? And so I was like, okay, I don't know if I can tell you. I don't know, but I got to go to the bathroom. When I come back, I got to figure this out. It has to do with Infinity War and Endgame and all this, but I'll figure out if I can tell you, if you want me to tell you, whatever, but I got to go to the bathroom, right? So I go to the bathroom. I'm doing my research, as I do.
Is that what you call it?
I do. I'm very experienced at doing research in the bathroom. Let's just say that. Let's just put it that way. I know how to research. I know how to research in the bathroom. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So I find out, I'm like, oh yeah, Ant-Man and the Wasp came out after Infinity War, right? According to my research. And so I'll just ask her. I'll just be like, I mean, do you want me to tell you what happens in Infinity War that everybody's talking about, the glove and all that stuff? And I'll just ask her about that. But let me finish reading this article because I'm not quite done, researching yet. And so I finished reading the article, and it's like, it starts talking about what happens. Like it goes, experienced Marvel Cinematic Universe goers know that you don't get out of your seat, because and it talks about the mid-credit, whatever it's called, the mid-credit scene, right? And then in the post-credit scene, I was like, wait, what? I guess I'm not experienced enough. Post-credit, I was like, there's another? So I go running back to the living room, and I was like, apparently there's another scene that I left too early to see. And so she's like, oh, yeah, I saw it. I was like, oh, you know more than I do. They can't. It's like, play it back, rewind it. We got to go watch it. So we went back and watched it. And it was this thing that I love, which is the emergency broadcast system.
Yeah, we've used that on the show a couple of times.
Yes. There's nothing like the emergency broadcast system because one of two things has happened. Either they're doing a test, which is most of the time, right? Or some shit has gone down.
Mm-hmm.
All the shit has hit all the fans.
That's right.
And, they do that at the Ant-Man's house. And then, of course, which just cracked my shit up.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they show the giant ant playing the drums.
Playing the drums.
Like, well, the giant ant didn't die.
Yeah, he was one of the lucky ones.
The giant drum playing ant didn't die. He's probably going to lose an arm or something. Usually the drummer dies, but not in this case. But he might lose one of his arms, I guess. But
he's not the drummer to Def Leppard.
right. So that whole thing, and for those of you that don't know, I mean, for Christ's sake, figure it out. Gauntlet, snap, half the universe dies, including a lot of our superhero friends.
Infinity War is on Netflix, by the way.
It is, and I watched most of it.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Please, go ahead.
Yeah.
Pretend I didn't say anything.
And, Thor's going, "What did you do? What did you do?" I'm like, well, he snapped. You didn't see? What do you mean, what did he do? He snapped his fingers. A lot of people are going to die. That's what he did. So anyway, I thought, first of all, as a family movie, just sitting around with your family, it's adventurous, it's fun, a lot of comedy, a lot of throwing Pez dispensers out the back of a car and hitting it with your ray that causes it to get big and knocking people off of motorcycles. The kids were telling my in-laws about that part. They're like, "Oh yeah, it was great."
The big Hello Kitty
Pez dispenser. And the ghost, I love the ghost. In fact, if I had anything to say, like there are two things I would have to say that could improve the movie. One is more of the ghost wearing the mask, because there's something about superheroes once they take their mask off, like the mystique goes away, or maybe it's the supervillain. Superheroes, I get it. You want the superhero to to take the mask off to make him a regular person. I don't know. Once the villain takes the mask off,
in movies they call it FaceTime. There's no real reason for them to do it. They do it so that they get what's called FaceTime. But in the comics, it's like there's no such thing because you know what they look like, and there's no actor wanting his appearance to be seen. But yeah,
although I will say, once I get more versed in the comic realm, maybe I'll change my mind, because there is something about I think I read it out of order, but I read the Spider-Man versus the Green Goblin, and kind of sort of the conclusion of their relationship.
Yeah.
A conclusion, I'll say.
Yeah, a conclusion.
But just getting a sense of how their relationship goes way beyond just being enemies, right? Mm-hmm. I kind of get that. It's kind of like knowing who the villain is adds to the depth of the story.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I get that. But the ghost was awesome. Like, not knowing who she was and just being like, her being able just to like teleport and go through walls and that kind of thing.
She was perfectly maniacally creepy in her costume.
Yes. But we kind of had to know who she was for the story to move forward. The other thing is, and I know why they did it, you and I talked about it, but it was confusing because in the beginning you had Wasp Jr. was the daughter, and Wasp Sr. was the mom. And then Ant-Man's daughter looked a lot like, Wasp Jr. from 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of confusing, like, to the kids, not to me because I'm super smart, but to my kids who are kind of like, I know they'll be smart someday, but right now they're kind of dumb.
Today is not that day.
Someday they'll be smart. Today is not that day. Well, in their defense, they probably weren't paying super close attention. But that was kind of confusing. But I think the reason they did it was to draw the parallels between Wasp Sr. and Ant-Man Sr. and his daughter, and Ant-Man Jr. and his daughter, and how they kind of had similar.
One of the things I absolutely loved about that movie is the father-daughter dynamic parallel runs through almost every character in the movie. There's so many. There's like you said, Junior, Senior, all that, and then with Bill Foster and the Ghost, there's just it's all over it in there.
I don't know who Bill Foster is, but I feel like Morpheus was kind of a father figure to the Ghost.
Bill Foster was Morpheus.
I don't know who that other guy is you're talking about, but Morpheus definitely seemed like a father figure to the Ghost.
That was Morpheus.
So Morpheus and Bill Foster are the same person?
Yeah.
See, another confusing aspect of the show. But, you're the comic book guy, so you would get that.
Yeah. I should have said Lawrence Fishburne or Morpheus.
Is Bill Foster a prominent character in the comics?
Yes. Bill Foster came along in the early 70s when comics decided that they needed more than just white superheroes. So when he talked about the Goliath project, he was Goliath in comics back in the day. He had Hank Pym's technology, or whatever you want to call it, and was using it to be a superhero. And yeah,
and Hank Pym is is Ant-Man
Michael
Sr.
Douglas. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So do you think moving forward, well, who knows? Because Endgame sort of closes a chapter on a phase of the MCU, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to say, like, moving forward, like, who's the new Ant-Man? Who's the new Wasp? Will Michael Douglas be, will Hank Pym continue to figure into the future? Who knows, right? Like, because we're moving on.
Yeah,
MCU,
I'm willing to bet money that all of them are just going to be the ones that survived Endgame are pretty much going to be background characters for a while to let the new characters come forward.
Yeah, I guess Hank Pym or whatever his name is didn't survive Ant-Man and the Wasp, but I haven't seen Endgame, so I don't know if he was brought back as part of the time travel whatever.
I won't spoil it for you.
I mean, other than that, I don't have any more thoughts about that movie. What did you think of it?
It's one of my favorites for a lot of reasons. The primary one being, like I said, all the father-daughter duality and dynamic. Plus, I love size-changing characters because I like the angles that the cameras can do and all that, and all the fun they had with it, like turning that truck into a scooter, and all that fun stuff. And I would risk the quantum realm and house arrest to rescue Michelle Pfeiffer. I would risk all those things without even thinking about it. The other thing I really loved about it is all of the supporting characters are just fucking quirky. They're just weird. There's something about it, right down to the your mobster bad guy. There's no reason for him to be that way. He just is, and it's just everybody was like really, really fleshed out in it, and all their little quirks play into the plot, and
I was gonna say that the amazing thing to me, they weren't just quirky to be quirky, like they were quirky, but somehow their quirkiness supported the plot.
Yeah,
right. Like, why did he care so much?
Yeah,
right. Once he figured out he was up against a ghost and people that could get super tiny, it's like, why wouldn't he be like, yeah, fuck it?
Yeah, because I mean, well, like for instance, when they're in the restaurant and she's flying up in the chandelier and they're shooting, he's like, stop shooting my whatever antique chandelier. It's like, why do you even care about that thing?
He's like, is this shooting chandelier? Hey, Marty, is this shooting chandelier day?
No, man.
Hey, Marty, is it super tiny insect day? No, man, it ain't Super Tiny Insect Day.
That's right.
That having been said, we may or may not have dropped a teaser about the future. This has been episode 197, that much closer to episode 200. Don't miss another one in between now and then, because you might miss, I don't know, another teaser about what the future holds.
I can't wait.
For Ant-Man Jr., Ant-Man Sr., Wasp Jr., Wasp Sr.,
Morpheus.
everybody in the quantum realm, Morpheus, the quantum realm, the Ghost,
Antonio Banderas.
and Michael Pena.
I'm Steve Vinson, and nothing you just heard was true. Was true. Was true.
Sometimes, Mouse, you think you know people and then you don't. Then you wonder, have I met them before? But it doesn't matter. You're just information. That's what we keep inside our heads.